Okay, is there someone in your life that needs to feel seen? I'm super excited because the ICU collection is back, baby. And now we are doing completely free shipping and free personalized notes to anyone in your life that needs to feel seen. We all are struggling with different things. If you want to make someone feel seen and you honestly just don't know what to say, go to icliving.com/collection and choose a gift to make someone feel truly seen. Welcome to ICU, a podcast where we know that human connection restores mental health and resilience. I'm your host, Julie DeJesus, and ICU. Let's be friends. Welcome everyone to another episode of ICU. Today, I'm so excited to have my friend Jan Grotegut on the podcast. Welcome, Jan.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
I feel like you're kind of an ICU cheerleader, and so it's fun to have you because you've been so supportive of all of this for kind of a long time, just giving books to people, bracelets, the cuffs. You really are someone that tries to see people a lot, I've noticed.
Oh, and I've appreciated your book and your cuffs because, yes, it brings to mind seeing people, reminding you to see people for who they are.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just like what your normal days like, family, kids, hobbies.
Yeah. So I have 6 kids and we we raised them in Springville. So you know my daughter, Marissa, and you know my son, Kyle, and my whole family.
I know, I forget sometimes that, oh yeah, those are your kids. Yeah. Like your son, Kyle, was one of my brother's best friends in high school. And yeah.
So we have connections.
We do have a lot.
So we lived in Springville and we moved to Mapleton about 15 years ago. I'm a math tech at Cherry Creek School in Springville. And so that's my life.
Very
that's
cool.
Life. Yeah.
And at this, I just have to mention, because I see your cute ICU cuff she's wearing. You were just saying to me, why do you wear that every day to school?
Because I work at a Title I school, and we forget some of the experiences that these kids go through. Some of them are difficult.
Yeah.
And some of them can be little turkeys. So I wear this ICU to remember, they are all little kids coming from different backgrounds, and I have to remember to treat them very gently because some of them come very hard backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. Listeners, if you're listening first, I see this is a cuff that, not this exact cuff, but I was given a cuff at a very pivotal, difficult time in my life that's talked about in the introduction of my book, ICU. And it was pretty life-changing for me to have it on my wrist, to wear places, to know that I was seen and understood at a time when I felt incredibly alone. And so if that is something that you're looking for, a gift or just someone that you know that's really struggling, you can go to icliving.com and see about how you can get in contact with me about ordering those there. I wanted to bring Jan on the podcast because recently, when this is being recorded, there was a really tragic fire at a church in Michigan. And there was a man that drove his truck into the church and got out and shot several people before shooting himself, I believe.
That's correct.
And I know that your church congregation, in the aftermath of this, chose to put together some things, and I'll have you speak more to that. But I just know because you contacted me about sending ICU cuffs to this congregation and the survivors there. Will you just tell me more about that service project that you guys did together?
Yeah. So one of the faith leaders in our congregation heard about this incident and felt really strongly that he wanted to do something about it. And so he talked to his wife. And at first it became just a family thing. So they were going to send, 5 blankets or 5 something. And then he thought, you know what, we need to make this bigger. So then he and his wife decided to put together a list of things. So he contacted the congregation's leader in Grand Blanc and
Grand Blanc, Michigan is where,
yes, correct,
where this happened. Yeah. And why 5? Was there a reason?
Because there's 5 people in their family.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which family?
So in the in the Bishoprics family that leads our church. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In our ward.
That's in
In
oh,
Mapleton.
So each of them were going to give one of these
Something.
items. I
Correct.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to remember if that's how many people were shot in the congregation or no.
No, I think there were 4.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there were 4.
Okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, so he decided that their little family was going to do something. And then he thought, no, I want to make this a little bit bigger. So he opened it up to our neighborhood and our congregation. And so they sent up a little flyer and decided, okay, we're going to do this. And it was really nice because I wanted to do something. My daughter Ariel is good friends with Bridger Frampton and Lindsay Nance, who were, 2 people that were, and their family, that were in this chapel when this happened.
Right.
And he was one of the ones that was going in and out of the chapel trying to pull people out and warn people. And he was one that also ended up in the hospital with lung problems because of the smoke inhalation and heat. So we wanted to do something because we knew them.
Yeah.
And didn't know exactly what to do. And so my daughter Ariel said, oh, there's a GoFundMe for them. And I thought, I don't want to send money to them. I want to do something different. So when our neighbor decided to do this, we thought this would be perfect. What else can we do? So he drew up a list. And some of the things on this were handwritten notes, warm or soothing items, spiritual uplift, comfort foods and treats, and self-care items or monetary donations.
Very cool.
Yeah, it really was.
And what made you think of doing the cuffs?
I just wanted something different, something that would remind them after this all kind of blew over that they were cared for, that it wasn't just when it happened, I wanted to reach out. Because in our congregation, and like yours, when something happens, we want to bring in a dinner or we want to bring in something to let that person know that we're thinking of them.
Absolutely.
But we can't do that cross country. So what can we do? And I liked that it had said that, write handwritten notes or do something. But I thought your cuff, which says, I see you, would help remind them not only during their time of recovery, but maybe a year later that they were thought of and that somebody loved them.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's really cool, the staying power of something, a permanent thing that someone can see. Because it's true also, I feel like when tragedy strikes, hopefully there's a lot of help immediately, a lot of hands on deck. But the hard thing about grief is it doesn't have an exact timetable. And so I know for myself and others I've talked to, especially on this podcast, it's hard when, in some ways, when life goes back to normal for everyone else, they rush in and they help and then it goes back to normal. And sometimes that can be the most lonely time because for the people that were impacted, they're still kind of like reeling of how to get back to this new normal. And so I think that's a really cool thought to give something that has some permanence to it to remind them later. I know that's what the cuff was for me. And it's interesting you said your cuff. I'm like, what's neat is I feel like the ICU cuff has grown into its own thing, that it's not my cuff anymore. Like someone made one and gave it to me.
Right.
And then we started with my publisher, when we came out with the book, we did the cuffs, but I feel like it's become outside of me, which is awesome because it's not about me. And I just think it's funny. It's like there's been times when I've almost tried to get away from the ICU phrase, not because I didn't love it, but just because I wondered if like it's just time. It's like we've done the ICU thing. And I almost feel like other people have almost gotten like mad at me. They're like, what are you doing? Like, no, it's like, it's become theirs now. They're like, no, it's ICU. Like it's ICU. And it's because it's taken on a meaning for them it's not to do with me. It's kind of taken on a life of its own. And to see these like be mailed around the world and the country and stuff is so cool and so neat. So thanks for sharing that with them. Obviously, have you had any feedback, not even specifically about the cuffs, but has your congregation, your neighborhood been able to have any feedback from them or just to know how they're doing in Michigan?
Yes. So they got a text, I think it's like 3 days after they received the boxes. So it happened on a Sunday, and I think the next Monday is when they started gathering everything and sent it out the next Wednesday. And 3 days later, well, 3 days after they received it, the bishop texted and said, thank you again. We have received all the packages. And there were 3 big boxes of blankets and food items and your cuffs. And one woman is a quilter, and she quilted a bag, which was, I thought, genius, because they just ran out of the chapel and left everything, and it got burned. And this was a church bag that she had put together with puzzles and sewn with love. It was just darling. But he goes on to say, we've received all the packages again, overwhelmed by everyone's love and charity. Today is our first normal sacrament meeting since the event. I know all the love and prayers and boxes of candy certainly helped our ward family feel strengthened and have the courage little by little to return. It will take time. Please express our sincerest gratitude to your ward family from ours. We love you.
Oh, that is so neat.
Yeah, it was very heart-touching.
Well, and it's really like I see you in action. It's one thing to talk about it, which these conversations are important. That's why we do the podcast. But then what do we do with it? What does that look like in real life? And I think that's such a cool example that your bishop, your church leader took the initiative of, okay, now we're going to do something. We're going to put something behind the words.
Right.
That's incredible.
It was.
Have you, moving forward, do you know by chance how your personal friends are doing there?
So he is the son of our dentist. And Tim went to go get his...
I know of them because we're in the same, we live in a similar area, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
Well.
So it was David Nance. He's the dentist in Springville, and Tim went to go see him. And he had said that Bridger was taken off intubation, and he was doing better.
That's incredible.
That's been probably 2-3 weeks now, so hopefully
in recovery. That's incredible. I thought it was interesting as well. I know there was a news story that came out about someone else setting up a GoFundMe for the family of the shooter, which I thought was also an incredible example of seeing others in humanity and not creating more division.
Right. Or anger or
contention.
Correct.
But just getting back to the human level. It was really cool to see all that amidst the opportunity we all have to engage in contention on social media. But to see people put together packages, put together GoFundMe, do things to help heal, be problem solvers instead of problem starters.
Correct.
It was really powerful.
It was probably really hard at being, have a wife or a child of that, to feel that that's not my dad. Did he really do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, what I felt most inspired about with what your congregation did for that city in Michigan, for their congregation, is just to do more physical acts. I love to listen. I love to talk to people. I love to help people. But that I was just truly inspired about creating more physical experiences of connection for other people. Because I think that's different, and I think it's meaningful, and I think it's needed, especially in a world of so much digital and AI and things. I think we need tangible reminders, whether it's a cuff or a book, or you gave me a book today to read, we need those real life experiences more than ever, I think.
Right. And I think I really liked this project that we did because there were 4 victims.
Yeah.
And there were GoFundMes for those 4 victims. But what about all those children and those young women and even adults
that witnessed so much trauma?
They too were victims.
Absolutely.
Maybe they didn't lose anybody, but they will be victims, and it will take time for them to recover and feel good about, what happened.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking the initiative and for involving me in such a small way, just so that I was able to see what you guys did. It was really incredible and inspiring to see.
No, I think it was great because we found out, the first time when I contacted you. I said, can I get, I think it was 20 bracelets?
Yeah.
And then we found out there were 18 young women. And I'm like, well, if there's 18 young women, that doesn't leave much room to thank other people. So, because I wanted to remember or write a note to Lindsay. And I also wanted to write a note to the Relief Society president and the Young Women president, who I thought were under a lot of pressure at this time. And then you said, well, I've got 40, so let's book in another 10. So I was really, truly grateful. Thank you.
Yeah,
so that
of course.
touched another 10 women.
Yeah.
Because I sent cards to the bishop, and I wrote a note in that package and said, please, I know there's at least 10 other women that needed to be seen and felt like, somebody cared about me.
That's so neat.
So thank you.
So neat. And if any of those women somehow this reaches them, or they're listening, or anyone in this congregation, our hearts are with you, and we just hope all the best. I can't imagine what that's like to go through, but I know that human connection can restore mental health.
Oh,
and our level of
definitely.
resilience it has for me and so many I know that have been through horrific tragedy, and we just have each other, right? That's how you heal. That's how you heal. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Oh, you're
Jen,
welcome. Thank
and
you
for
so
your
much for
example.
having me. Thanks.
Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time on ICU.
Hey listeners, I'm Julie DeJesus, founder of ICU Living. No matter what we do here, we are all things ICU. That's why I've rebranded my keynote speaking and consulting as ICU Leadership, a branch of ICU Living. I help leaders turn human connection into their most powerful strategy for keeping great people and bringing out their best. My secret weapon? What it's always been, being real. Remember, happiness isn't your business. Connection is. Visit iculeadership.com to find out more.